welcome to the Radient Pearl Business Circle, where we talk about business, leadership, and self-care. I'm your host, Renée Morgan, founder and CEO of Radient Pearl Coaching and Consulting, certified business and executive coach. Today's topic, an entrepreneurship journey. Our guest today has 25 plus years of industry experience in print design and graphic communications. Voted amongst his peers, he was awarded the Silver Addy Award for graphic design and branding. Launching countless brands, he continues to provide education and mentorship to individuals in his industry. President of CO2 Productions, I introduce to you today, Alan Sciulli.
Hi, Renee. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. Yes, thank you for having me this morning. This is a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. We're glad to have you. We've been talking for over the last year or so, and you've just been a great inspiration to Radient Pearl, and wanted to kind of bring you on to talk about your journey. In our talks, you've often talked about some of your stories in entrepreneurship. So I wanted to make sure that we got the audience here to share that with you. So my first question is, let's talk about CO2 Productions. So what do you guys do? What type of business?
So CO2 really stands for two companies coming together to produce. So you have, when I started this company, I cut my teeth in print and graphic design, and I realized there was so much more to communications than that. So two companies coming together, that's the CO and the two, and then of course production. But what we do is, in a nutshell, we take your logo and put it on just about anything you can imagine. So we amplify brands.
Okay.
And it started off as very basic, just graphic design and printing. And then over the last few years, we've reinvested in the company and have expanded on our abilities.
Okay. Wow. So it's really important, especially with organizations and businesses, to launch a brand. And a lot of that is through the products that you sell or that you promote. So what kind of products? I know that you talked about print design. I know people talk about signage and things like that. I'm sure that you've had some, a lot over the years, large orders or smaller orders. What can you give us some examples of sort of the type of orders you've gotten over the years?
Sure. Really, we range our tickets, if you want to look at it from a job value, our tickets run anywhere from $100, all the way up to $15,000-$20,000.
Wow. Okay.
So it really depends on the scope of the project. We're nimble enough to do the little things and do the large things just as equally. So it's not a big deal for us to do a set of business cards if that's all you need,
right?
Or if you need a full interactive trade show display that's 40 feet wide and 20 feet deep and has video and lighting and carpeting and all of the other stuff that goes along with it. So those are more extravagant. Now, as well, one of our issues, I suppose, if there is an issue, is most companies are set up as just one of our facets. So we have all of these facets in one room, and so what we found from a challenge perspective is to have that conversation without having people get blown away by too much information.
Right.
So we find ourselves just listening a lot.
Yes.
And that's as any good entrepreneur will tell you, you have two ears and one mouth for a reason.
Absolutely. A lot of listening is really good in entrepreneurship. So you can, provide the service for your company, for your customer. So tell us a little bit about how you got started in, CO2 Productions. Give us the background.
Sure. It's funny, the history of my career. I started with a 4-person company,
right?
4 to 40,
right? Wow.
Then down to 20, then up to 10,000.
Wow.
and then down to whatever Ogilvy or whatever IQ was. I think it may be 100, 120.
Okay.
And then CO2.
So
which started as just me.
Yes, of course. It always starts with the vision, right? I always tell people that it starts with the vision from you, right? So you essentially left the corporate America, environment, and your vision became alive. So how
I've
did?
always had a dream of starting my own company. I mean, even back when I was in grade school,
Mhm.
I just always had this dream. I was always kind of like I wouldn't say chasing the dollar, but
Yeah.
I was, I had a Kool-Aid stand when I was a kid. I delivered newspapers. Uh,
Yes.
I hustled. Yeah,
Yes. Believe
I,
me. Yeah, my brother had a paper route, and I was in the car. That's a hustle. Yeah, that's a.
yeah, it's a hustle. And,
I mean, in your experience, the 25 years of experience just working in the industry, I'm sure you've learned a lot about entrepreneurship and just, from the paper route to your, corporate position and now to starting CO2 Productions. I'm sure, there's like ups and downs, I'm sure, but also, I guess, stories you can tell the entrepreneurs out there who are either just starting or already in business. I know everybody can be, it can be beneficial to get advice from anybody at any level.
totally.
So,
Biggest lessons I ever learned were
mhm.
from my mistakes.
Mm,
And that's that's the truth in any industry, whether you're working for yourself or anybody else. It's more painful when you're working for yourself
yeah,
because uh, it means money,
yeah,
real money,
yeah,
and if you're not prepared or if you're not in a situation where you can handle any kind of error,
hmm,
you have to be prepared for that. It's going to happen.
yeah,
Um, how big the error or how big the whatever it is that the adversity is, let's say, you have to be able to work through it. Can't go around it, can't go over it, can't go on it. You got to go through it
yeah,
and meet that adversity face on head on,
yeah,
really go after it. So here's the case in point, me being, 20 years in the industry at the time, after when I started my company, 15 years in the industry,
mhm.
we were doing an installation for a company in Manhattan. They were going to do it was a Gold's Gym,
Okay.
and they were on Gold Street in Manhattan.
Wow.
So yeah, it was like the goal. It was the whole gold. So anyway, they
Hmm.
had a beautiful space. The
Hmm.
first level of this high rise, or what New York, everything's a high rise, but they were on the first level, and
Okay.
it was gorgeous. It was 2-story of all glass, and
Wow. Okay.
it was really nice. And we
Okay.
had this whole branding experience that we were putting in for them. Everything was approved,
Hmm.
and we got about a month away from installation when he lost his lease.
Oh my.
So he said, "Hey," he called me up and said, "Hey, I got some bad news for you." I said, "What?" He goes, "Well, we lost our lease." I was like, "Oh man, okay. So what's the plan?" He goes, "Well, we need our money back." Oh, oh,
Okay.
all right. And
Wow.
I said, well, we've already, deposits are non-refundable,
Hmm.
and we've already started. We've already gone down the road of all the design. You've already approved everything.
Yeah.
He goes, and he says, "Okay, that's fine. Just show me in your paperwork where it says, deposits are non-refundable, and we'll be all set."
Right.
And in my terms and conditions, I had nowhere in there that said,
Oh wow.
deposits were non-refundable.
Yeah.
He was good about it. He let me. Obviously, he said, I'll let you keep the graphic design money that we paid. That's done. We
Right.
love the design. If
Right.
you ever come back and go somewhere else, it's done. We have it. I'm
Right.
like, absolutely. He
Yeah.
goes, "I'm not paying for supplies."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." Look, I mean, just in supplies alone, because good thing we didn't get into labor and all that other stuff.
Yeah. All that other stuff.
Application.
Yeah.
We're looking at about $20,000 that had to be, sent back. And
Wow.
in my field, when
Mhm.
you order supplies from your manufacturers,
Yeah. You
you
can't
can't return those
burn
things.
them. Yeah. Yeah.
It's even though it's raw material, we haven't done anything with it.
Right.
The point is, they're like, "You're a sign company, you're a graphics, you'll be using this stuff anyway. There's no returning this stuff."
Yeah.
So, and it's all, it does age, it does have market value. So
Hmm.
you can't really return it.
Return it. Yeah.
So we were stuck with $20,000 worth of inventory,
Wow.
and that was 10 years ago. We've well established and used that material since,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But if if I was if I was just starting out, even green in the industry, not even the 15 years prior, or didn't have any just uh, fortitude to put up
Right.
with that, I
Right.
could have very easily just waved the flag and said, "Okay,
It's
you know
over.
what?
Yeah.
grand. I'm just going to call bankruptcy here
Yeah. Wow.
and go another road. You asked about, what can we say about to new entrepreneurs
Yeah.
entering the marketplace? One of the big things is you have to have a good support. And what
Yes.
that means is whether it's your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, doesn't matter. Someone in your life has to support it.
Yep.
And it's so important because being an entrepreneur is a lifestyle. It's not a 9 to
Yes.
5. You're
Oh
not
my
punching a
gosh.
clock. Uh,
Yes.
and there's times where I'm in the office until 1, 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I'm on deadline or if I'm writing proposals is probably the worst part of
Worst.
the entire experience.
Yeah. It takes time, right, to write the
It takes
proposal,
so much
to
time and
think
you're not
about
getting
it.
paid for
Yeah.
it. You
Yeah.
are not getting paid for proposal work.
Yeah.
So you tell a lot of people this.
Hmm.
You're never going to get rich off of one client, so don't try.
Yeah.
Because the second you try and you try and make a little bit of profit just to try and make whole on maybe a job you lost on before, you're
Hmm.
going to lose both clients.
Yeah. Wow.
Just stay true to your pricing and understand that the market will dictate what you should be charging.
Right.
You'll know if you're out there and you're losing and losing and losing, your prices aren't right.
Yeah.
Either that or it's your pricing is right, and you're losing clients or you're not retaining clients, then
Mhm.
that's an internal problem. But if you're not even gaining the clients to begin with, chances are it's your pricing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's two ways to look at that.
Yeah, yeah, no, this is very valuable, advice and tips. You and I have talked several times about different stories you've had, and these, just to be able for you to be able to share just what you've shared, I think is just invaluable to anyone that's in business or just starting out. I think a lot of times people think that when you start, you're just, the bank account is just going, everything is just cha ching, and it really isn't that way. It takes time to get there, right? And it takes a lot of forethought into, okay, I've had this one experience where I've made maybe a mistake, or I didn't make the right decision, but then you bounce back from that and you learn from it, and then you can say, okay, this is the next time, this is what I'll do the next time, right? And so with the experience that you had with leaving you with $20,000 with materials, a lot of folks will think, oh, well, that's just, a drop in the bucket for someone, right? But when you think about it, $20,000 is just the materials. It's not even the time, the labor, even the parts or the things that you have to do. I mean, there's so many other costs involved outside of materials, right? Um,
Well,
yeah,
it's not your money.
yeah,
So it was a
yeah.
deposit,
Hmm.
and I took the deposit and I bought the materials with. So
Hmm.
then I had to give that money back. So really, that's 40 grand difference,
Right.
right? So it's the 20 that I spent, and the 20 I got to put back.
Hmm. Yep.
So it's a $40,000 swing.
Yeah.
It's it's real money.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and and you got to eat the cost, as they say. It's hard. It's hard. I know, even with proposal work, as you mentioned, with my background in government contracting, having worked on proposals that take hours and days and weeks to put together. Even in my own business, putting together proposals, and everyone's great, everything's happening, and then they want something different, or they don't respond, or there could be many facets of things that can happen. But it gives you that practice also, and it gives you that learning lesson on how to create those proposals fast, so that you can get it out to the individual. But I'm sure that you put together a lot of proposals. There's a whole bunch of things that happen in that. So my question to you is, what's the number one thing people ask you when they come to you first?
Oh wow. It's hard to say. That's an interesting question because again, we have so many facets to what we do.
Mhm.
Um, I think when most people come to us, because in a lot of ways what we do is a commodity, they do want to ask price first.
Mm.
We do find that price is a big factor.
Okay.
Um, and it's interesting. It depends if what we're talking about is manufacturing or creative. So if we're talking manufacturing, that would be your print, your promo, your signs,
Hmm.
um, those sorts of things. And there you're up against the invisible man and the internet and
Right.
web-based companies.
Hmm.
Um, they have a place and purpose, but they kill local business because you can't compete with their prices.
Yeah.
They're based off of huge amount of orders, just volume.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get that volume coming in from
Right.
every single nook and cranny on the internet, then yeah, you can keep your machines running and you get your unit rate down to almost nothing. So that's how they can do it. So the little shops, local companies,
Mm-hmm.
you can't necessarily get the best deal. We do very competitive pricing though.
Wow.
And the most important thing you get with us is the human aspect of it. We're
Okay.
going to see your job through. We're going to make sure that you're happy.
Right.
Um,
Right.
we're going to be there. We're there. I'm a person. You
Yeah.
can pick up the phone and call me.
But you have a team of people that you work with, or in the
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
So as well with the name of my company, CEO, that's actually named after my children, Charlotte and Oliver. That's
Oh, okay.
that's really what the name is.
Uh-huh.
And so they're involved with the company. They're young still. I mean, my
Yeah.
son will be a freshman in college, and my daughter
Wow.
will be a senior in high school. So they're getting to the point where they're going to start working in the company a lot more.
Oh, great. Wow, that's great. Yes.
Yeah, it's their name.
Yeah. I
We've
mean,
all,
if it's your name.
here's another important lesson for an entrepreneur. This is my dream. It's not my kid's dream.
Right.
If for whatever reason, if I want to, turn this over to my kids one day and they go, we really don't want it.
Right.
That's their dream.
Yeah.
I can't force this on anybody.
Yeah.
And I realized that, but I did it in hopes of, I built this to provide for my family.
For the family. Yeah.
Without the fear of, getting that layoff slip, right? But we have about 15 employees right now.
Wow. Cool.
I do have a few contractors as well. So contractors puts us out to, 20 to 30, almost double that. And there's very specialized fields. Like for instance, like I'm not going to house a photographer.
Right.
There's not enough work. But
Right.
we have 2 or 3 go-to photographers and videographers who we will use for our projects.
Okay. How do you manage all of it? I know you've got, the family, there, and sometimes you're up at night, late, as I've, been myself.
You have to have a good support system that people understand. So it's an unspoken word. They just know. I'm not out there selfishly. I'm out there for the greater good of both the company and my family.
Mm-hmm.
But so you have to have the mindset.
Yes.
And you always hear as well, like, a lot of companies don't last 2 to 3 years. There's a big failure point right around that time.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is burnout. A
Yeah.
lot of it is because people aren't prepared for that lifestyle. You have to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
And not just that, but, the planning. And like I said, if there's a failure, if there's something that happened that screws up your cash flow, like
Right.
$20,000 in one day is a big deal. You weren't expecting that.
Yes.
So how to navigate through that? There's no roadmap.
Right.
There is no roadmap. Everyone's going to have their own map.
Yes.
Like I said, you can't go around it. You can't go over under. You got to see it straight through.
Yeah.
And whatever that means to you, and you'll have more success that way.
Yeah.
But how we manage it, it's there's a process with everything. That's one good thing about me is that I am process driven.
Okay.
So having good process is important. That means no matter what, you're going to do A, B, C, D. You're not going to go A, C, B, A, D. You can't do it. It has to be consistent every time.
Yeah.
But any business, there's if-then statements, right?
Yeah.
You build your business plan as an if-then.
Yes.
And you can factor it. So the phone rings. If the phone rings, then you answer it. It's as simple as that.
Right. Right.
It's all if then and it's process.
Right.
And you stick to it, and it makes it easy because then it's like, oh yeah, this is where I'm at in the process, and the process tells you what to do.
What to do, right? Yeah, process is part of the operation. Process is I am 100% a fan, if not, my old coworkers used to call me process queen or the process queen, because I'm like, okay, what's the first step? What's the next step? Because even in those steps, it's like what you said, the if then statement, right? And I love that term. It's like the if then statement is what you have to think about in your mind as you have your processes put in place, right? And so with your operation, especially with print and graphic design, you have to have a process in place in order for you to manage that if then that comes in. Because if someone says, okay, I'm ready to order today, they order and then they change their mind, oh, we don't need that anymore. It's not that simple, right? It's
Right.
more of this, the process may end, or the process flow may end at that, for that customer, but then for your team, there's a whole bunch of things they need to do after that. If someone cancels an order, or if someone says, oh, we're coming back for this order, and say, so there's different nuances. But from what you're saying, the advice that you're giving, it's you have to work your process. You have to continue to learn from them, over time. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And you are constantly tweaking your process as
Mhm.
well. You want to improve the process. It's not
Right.
nothing is set in stone.
Yeah.
You're going to learn from holes in your process, and again, the market will show you where you're right and wrong. And
Right.
don't be afraid to be wrong.
Yeah.
That's the okay. It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah.
And it's okay to fail. You just
Hmm.
want to be able to manage that. Now, obviously, if you're making the same mistakes, that's a major problem. You can't
Yes.
make the same mistake. That's where you fix your process.
Mhm.
Take the things that are going to be the most painful and
Mhm.
understand why they're painful and make
Right.
them less painful.
Right.
And when you do that, you're not shifting pain.
Yeah.
You're not putting the pain onto the client. No,
Right.
you never do that. You won't have a client.
Right.
Um, but you need to minimize your risk, and
Right.
and that's what it comes down to. Minimize your risk, your liability,
Mhm.
and by doing so, you just have to think these through.
Yeah.
And you hear funny things, stories all the time in customer service. Customer service is really the number one in your business, because
Definitely.
your clients are your lifeblood. Without
Yes.
clients, what are you doing?
But it's sort of um like what you say, you have to listen to what they want, right? And then be able to provide. In client acquisition, or in BD, it's always okay. The client needs this one thing, but there's always something else that you can provide to your client after that. And you from in my conversations with you, you provide that. It's like you say, okay, this is what you need. Okay, did you think about this, right? Did you think about the next thing, right? And you're prepared to provide. So that's good customer service there. It's being able to listen to the client and also provide what they want, but also in addition to that, some other benefit for them. And
Correct. I mean,
yeah.
if you can find, if someone comes to you with problem, it's just like the if then problem solution at that
Hmm.
point, right? So, and
Right.
that's what my company does. Is we provide solutions in graphic means.
Yes.
So we do it visually.
Right.
Well, clients don't always know how to articulate what they want,
Right.
um,
Right.
or they come to us and it's kind of a mold of clay. Hey, what can we do to get our business from A to B to Z? and
Yes. Yeah.
and you really have to again, we walk through when we talk digital strategy, brand strategy, and all that. That's
Mhm.
when we help clients with that
Yep.
if then, and we
Yeah.
talk through the if thens with them. We help build their road that they want to go. We're going to make sure that they're doing it the way that they have planned. So,
Right.
and also from a graphic standpoint, it's all about consistency.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you have to be consistent, you have to be true, and you have to be genuine.
Right.
Um, the public will know when
Hmm.
you're not being genuine, when you're
Yes.
fake, when you're
Hmm.
plastic. It's
Yeah.
very obvious.
It is. Yeah.
It's very obvious when it happens,
Okay.
and so that's what we try and talk to people about. But
Yeah, and I can tell. I mean, you have so much passion for what you do, and when you and I talk, we talk for for a long time about your different experiences and just about business and lessons learned. So before we wrap up here, I just want to say, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge on your experiences and all of the accolades that you've gotten over the years. I'm sure there'll be a lot of folks who will be great, wanting to work with you even more. I'm sure you've got a list of clientele. So where can we find you? What's your website?
Oh, sure. It's CO2. So
Okay.
Charlie Oscar, the number 2, and then Productions is plural. It's just
Okay.
popped on the screen, I think.
Yep.
So, you can, and of course, you can always call me. Our number is 240
Mhm.
383
Mhm.
6867. So you can
Okay.
call me anytime. That line will go into the company, and most of the time, just redirect it right to me. So, uh,
Right.
yeah, I'm happy to field any of your questions and meet every one of you.
Yeah.
Absolutely, the
Yeah.
audience gained
Yeah.
something from this today.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is a pleasure to bring you on to talk to you about your journey in entrepreneurship, from going from corporate America, having what we say adversity, but really adversity turned into an explosion of a great business where you provide to clients, both nationally and internationally, is such a great thing. So. Um, I just want to say thank you for coming. If you guys want to know, if the audience wants to know more information about this interview and the others that we're doing, I encourage you to go to www.radiantpearl.com. If you want to be the first to know about what's happening, radiantpearl.com/subscribe, which is at the bottom of the screen. That will get you to on our mailing list so that you can find out more about the business circle, about Alan and the other experts that we have coming on here. Thank you so much, Alan. We appreciate you so much for coming on. I know there's more stories that you have that you can share with the audience, but we can go on for hours about it. But definitely we want to bring you back to talk to our members and our team to just share your knowledge and experience. So,
I would
all
love
right.
to, Renee. It's been a pleasure to be part of this show and talking with you today. I loved it, and yeah, I love to talk,
Yeah.
but like I said, it's important to listen too, and I hope that we get an opportunity to come back and do more of
Yeah.
these one-on-ones. It's awesome.
Definitely, definitely. All right, Alan, thanks so much for coming. Everybody, take care.
All right.